So how's it going, my Comics Army? We're here today with Brandon Stravaki, the creator of Avalon. How you doing, Brandon?
I'm doing good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. It's been a while. I think it's been a year, maybe a year and a half since we've talked last.
It feels like if it wasn't, definitely feels like that. It's been quite some time, and I'm glad to be back. You know, it's always good talking to you and being back on the show too. So here we are.
What have you been doing since the last time we talked?
A lot of events. This year, actually, we had the most events that we've had since we started this whole deal, which is kind of fun. And we went the furthest we went out. We went to Boston this year, which is about 8-9 hours away from where I'm at too. So that's the furthest we've been so far. That was a really cool trip. First time I've ever been to Boston as well. Um, Other than that, just really, grinding on Avalon, trying to get this done. We got to our issue 6 campaign, kind of wrapping up our first season of Avalon, so that's pretty exciting for us and the whole team as well. But really, other than just day job stuff, life, and working on Avalon, that's really it.
Are you still sticking with the black, white, and blood aesthetic?
Yeah, so that's definitely going to be the approach, even moving forward as well. That's kind of our theme now. We've kind of grown into that, and I'm a huge fan of what it looks like, anyways. Um, it's definitely fitting for what we're trying to do with our story too, and especially what's coming up here, not in season 2, but for season 3, we got some really cool noir kind of feeling into this zombie kind of genre too, to kind of make it a unique kind of feel.
Especially that last reveal at issue 1. It just, the black, white, and blood brings it
Yeah.
together. You know?
100%. And that's just like I feel like a good trademark deal for us too. It's just every page of every last page of every single issue will have that splash of color. Really have you kind of that wow moment at the end of every issue to kind of signify it a little bit more. And just really kind of get you moving on it. It just has like that good mental kind of suspense already just by looking at it in that fashion.
So will it always be blood or like gore at the last page?
No, not always, but obviously when it's necessary, when we're kind of getting there with some of the story elements and some of the issues and where we're moving with it, yeah, it probably most times, especially with it being a horror, zombie kind of comic, so most times it might be, but not all the time. Whenever it, even with this last issue 5 here, not spoiling too much, but it wasn't a gory page. It was actually a nice, little scenery page. Well deserved for all the characters that are still kind of around right now. So people who haven't read it yet, you'll kind of see that they get a brief moment after the chaos.
Do you want to give an elevator pitch? The people that haven't seen you before?
Yeah, of course. So Avalon is a zombie apocalypse storyline. You follow the Castle family. Instead of following one individual main protagonist and doing a hero's journey, we're doing the whole family as the main protagonist. Each character has a lot of diverse kind of depth added to them, as if they would all kind of be main characters in their own story. Um, Two things that we really focus on in Avalon is mental health and physical health issues that people deal with on a day-to-day basis. So, life's hard enough as it is. Adding all those elements into a zombie apocalypse, I think it's very necessary, and it really allows everybody to kind of sit back and ask, like, how would I survive in a zombie apocalypse? Well, now you have Avalon to kind of understand that, because we're going to be doing things like depression, anxieties, PTSDs, diabetes, cancer, sicknesses, illnesses. All those things are going to be main points, kind of inside the main storyline moving forward.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see people like to try to find insulin and things of that sort.
Yeah, definitely, and I think, like, being a huge fan of the genre, it's definitely done. I'm not saying it's not done, but it's always that I've seen. It's always kind of just shown real quick and slowly fades away. With this, with Avalon, that's gonna be the main point of all of the storylines and the characters' storylines and all that stuff too. It's just always gonna be there. It's always gonna be a ticking time bomb for something that some character is dealing with.
And this book is taking place around Christmas, right?
Yeah, so it's funny to think about sometimes, because like when I'm even writing it sometimes, like I know it's around Christmas, but it's just like it's funny because when you're not literally around Christmas in like real life kind of aspect, it's hard to think about it. But definitely, yeah, it's a first week of December, so we're kind of getting into the Christmas spirit and this kind of Avalon world too, which is always kind of like a fun deal. And we could always have that argument too: is it a Christmas story, kind of like the Die Hard argument?
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
is this a Christmas story? But yeah.
So in Avalon, the zombie apocalypse just broke out. Like it's fairly new, right?
Yeah, so from issue 1 to 5, really, actually 1 to 6, it's literally told in like a 1 day fashion from 1 to 6. So it we stretch it out, I think, in a perfect manner. If somebody didn't hear about it or know about it and kind of was like, okay, you're talking about the beginning of the apocalypse all in 6 issues. Uh, one night in 6 issues, that seems pretty absurd. But when you kind of read it and start understanding the flow, it definitely makes sense, especially the way we're telling the story with all of these characters. Again, the depth with all of these characters is very deep, and there's a lot of diversity kind of moving with these characters as well and trying to tell each part of their story. So it doesn't feel like it's drawn out or feels too long. I think it's a perfect kind of mixture of like messing around with a bunch of different people's kind of storylines and all that stuff moving forward.
Is issue 6 going to be the cutoff, and then you're going to combine it into a trade?
Yeah, issue 6 will be the last issue of the volume, the season. We're calling it season 1. So the reason we don't have it kind of linked up with this issue 6 campaign right now is because Demetrius was adamant about remaking the art style for issue 1. So when we're going to be our next Kickstarter within the next, hopefully by spring, will be Demetrius's remake take on issue 1, and we're going to be combining all those, and that's going to be the trade paperback Kickstarter when we do bonus material, behind the scenes stuff, and like concept art, character art concepts, and all that stuff too.
And once when this blows up and becomes the next Walking Dead, you can go back and do it all in color.
See, that's a good way of doing it though too, and that's always like an interesting thing as well. I'm not opposed to it, but I just think of right now in my head, it's just like I'm so set on what we got, with having the noir kind of look to it. Again, it just adds that cool aesthetic to the zombie genre that I haven't personally seen myself. Not saying it's not out there, but I personally haven't seen myself.
No, I agree. The way y'all do it, I think I've only read issue 1 so far. Y'all killed it.
Yeah,
The
thank you very much. And with the art, especially, from issue involved, like you could see all over our social media, even if you've read issue 1, that all the art, all the visuals you see is all Demetrius. So it's just like from 1 to now, you're just like, wow, how did he do that in like 3 or 2 years even? It's just a crazy kind of transition.
where are you going to be at this year?
Just con wise?
Yeah. What
Yeah,
cons are going
so
to be at?
we have, I think, 4 more left for the rest of the year. We have 2 local events coming up here: our Erie Comic Con, and we have an Erie Horror Fest. I have an Ohio Comic Con that's going to be coming up, I believe, in a week or two. And then the last one is we have another horror fest in Jamestown, New York. So that's about, I think, like 45 minutes away from me, an hour away maybe. But those are the ones remaining for the rest of the year.
Did you make it into comic book stores yet?
Yeah, actually, we're a pretty fair amount of comic stores right now, and we are in our local one, like our Erie local one. Obviously, that I feel like that was a given. We had to kind of make sure that happened. We're in Ohio, which is great. We're a couple places down south of us, like 45 minutes, Titusville area, and all that. It's obviously to person that doesn't live over here, they don't know. So it's about 40 minutes away, and then we're actually in North Carolina, which is awesome. And we're trying to get into some places in New York State and kind of expand slowly over the years going by. So again, each year it's we're slowly kind of expanding the radius, and it's been an awesome process, kind of seeing our books in stores and people buying them and selling out, and then we have to kind of put them back in there. They're asking for more. It's a cool thing for us.
That's cool, man. Have you thought about doing distributing through Diamond?
That was a thought way back in the beginning. I guess I'm not opposed to it now. I just haven't really put much thought into it since then. Just kind of figuring everything out. There's so many there's so many deals that we got to do and figure out overall. That kind of just unfortunately fell into the back burner a little bit. And again, not that I'm opposed to it. I just haven't given it much thought since issue like 1 or 2. So, but again, you bringing it up now too, it definitely could spark like an interest, and I can start looking into what all goes into it, but I definitely wouldn't be opposed to that.
Yeah, because I mean, now that you've got sales numbers from all the other comic book stores, you can definitely show them, hey, there is an interest, and I do have an audience. You know.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's definitely a fair point right now too, and that was probably it too, is it's not knowing enough about it back then too, and trying to figure out everything else along with writing and social media and all that stuff that goes into creating
Yeah.
just anything, I guess for that matter. That kind of just got put away, but now we could definitely give it some serious thought now.
Are you trying to? Are you going to shop this around to publishers?
So the original idea was obviously to keep it within the 1282, our own kind of label right now. I think when we have the volume, the trade paperback out next year sometime, we're going to give it some serious consideration to kind of see what we can kind of do. Again, that's another thing where I'm not opposed to doing it. Just have to kind of see what the offers are, see what they're willing to give, or what the stipulations are and all that stuff too. Because one of the main reasons why is too because Alan and I, when we first kind of figured this whole thing out, when we made 1282, the original intent was to kind of be our own boss, essentially,
Mm.
and kind of do what we wanted to do. We know what we want to do, so kind of doing it our way. And that was the whole idea of bringing up a production company on our own as well. So we'll see what kind of goes into all that. Again, not opposed to it. I'm always willing to kind of expand and figure out ways of doing that, and we'll see when we kind of get there.
I think publishers now, people just use them for like distribution. You know, because
Yeah.
today is the greatest time to have any fandom to be alive. You know, and if you want to make an action figure, comic, or plushie, everything is easier now than ever to get it done.
Yeah, I agree with that. Having social media is a good way to kind of market and just find fans, find people who are into things. There's a bunch of groups out there. There's a bunch of ways of just connecting with just random people that you never would have met. I mean, like even like speaking with you here today.
Hmm.
Social media did that. You know what I mean? Being able to meet you and have the relationship that we've had over the last couple of years we're talking
Yeah.
about too. Being on a couple shows here now, it's kind of a cool deal, and being able to do all that stuff's been an awesome thing.
So what things did you change from your first Kickstarter to your sixth?
A lot. One of those things is organization.
Mm.
So we were first trying to figure out what to do, and no clue how to work anything. And that goes with the interviews. Just how to kind of promote and all those things as well as. So now it's been a lot easier because we've been there, kind of done that. Obviously, it's a growing thing, kind of like Kickstarter's a growing deal, like social media. It changes very quick, like what people want, and and how people want their stuff. So you kind of have to adapt with it, you know as time goes on. So I think we've done that pretty well now. Taken what we've learned in the last 4 Kickstarters that we've had, and just kind of applying it to what we got right now, and just taking the experience and just the networking, the way we've been networking and getting in contact with a bunch of people, and all the help and support that everybody's been with us the whole time, and made us got us to this point.
What advice would you give to new creators out there?
Just keep grinding, keep doing it. You know what I mean? It's even if it seems like it's a slow process. I mean, it probably is, and it's probably fine. It's one of the things that I did when I was in the beginning was I wanted to push this out. I was very impatient. Alan was one of the people that were saying slow it down. I just really wanted to get our issue 1 out for no reason at all, other than just being excited for it.
Mm.
Actually, you know, just sit back, do all your studying, do all your research, figure out what the market is, figure out what you want to do overall, and just, be an expert at it, and then release. Because when you release, now you're out there. You know what I mean? Now you already have something. Now there's a level of expectation to kind of fulfill and keep moving. As long as you're behind the door, you can kind of do all your research, become an expert at something before you even come out into the light. And as soon as you come out in the light, you're already an expert. So just keep grinding, keep studying, keep learning, and just keep evolving.
What kind of zombies are in Avalon? Do you have the slow zombies or the fast running ones?
So these ones are going to be like the fast running ones. So they're not, I guess. So one of the big things about ours too is that they're not going to be like super like human or super slow or whatever. They're just going to have the physical abilities that a normal human being would have in your body. Like you're like if you were infected, you're going to run as fast as you would now. You're not going to be jumping off walls like doing parkour and figuring out these random skills after you're infected. You're just going to be a normal kind of thing, just normal zombie monster trying to just do your thing, and that's bite and eat people. But so I think that alone is still have the scary effect. We still have we did some research on a bunch of different infections, parasites, viruses, bacteria, and we wanted to kind of ground it in as much reality as possible. So our kind of zombie is a very realistic thing that could kind of take place, which is going to be very interesting for the readers to find out, because they're going to find out as the characters in the book find out.
I think they got like a parasite that attacks bugs or lizards or something, and it eats their brains and get them to like drown themselves. I'm trying to find the right words for YouTube, and it's just like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no, I definitely know what you're talking about. I can't
right.
remember what the name of the parasite is, but it's definitely a real thing. And all you have to do is simply do some research as well. If you want to kind of, after we start giving a little bit more information about our own infection, you'll be able to start doing research and going like, oh, okay, this could be it, or could not be it, or where did it come from? Where was the beginning of it? So there's a lot of cool things out there that you can kind of just like put together and put pieces together, and you'll be able to figure out our infection.
Dead or alive, who is your dream team to make a comic book with?
I would, I'd go right towards Robert Kirkman would be an awesome one. Obviously, because he's been in the comic industry, but I'm a huge fan of Quentin Tarantino and his work. I don't know what his feelings would be in the comic world, but to be able to work with him, period, would be an awesome experience. And not to take away, I'm going to be kind of corny here, but the team that I have honestly wouldn't change it for the world. Having the team that we have right now, I'm very comfortable with the team that we have for Avalon right now. Having Demetrius as the artist and the writing room that we have right now, it's a very I'm very grateful to have who I have now and be a part of this journey with me. So that again, not to be too corny, but that it's definitely a nice deal to have all them too. But yeah, I do have to fanboy a little bit. I'm a big fan of the Quentin Tarantino.
Out of all 200 and about 40 interviews, I think you're the first person to say the team I got now. I love it. I love it, dude.
Yeah, no, like again, it's a little bit cheesy, but it definitely is the truth though too.
Yeah.
I really admire the people that are a part of this team right now, and they put their heart and soul into it. And I don't know if I would get that with a random celebrity right now too, because but here with who we got now, this is their baby as much as mine. You know what I mean? So it's definitely been an awesome journey.
Is there anything you want to say before we go?
Just help us fulfill this last Kickstarter here for season 1. We've been here. We got here because of you, anyways. Everybody here, we love and love the support. We hear your support. We hear your feedback and all that stuff too. Without you, we wouldn't be here. So that's just basically it. Just help us out. Get this finale out for season 1. Let's get it out there.
Appreciate you taking the time to come talk with me.
I appreciate you having me back.
What? You mean you haven't subscribed to Comicchatauthority? Oh, come on. Subscribe already. What are you waiting for? It's no big deal. Like, man, don't forget to tell him to hit that like button. Yeah, that too. Just subscribe.